France, I hit my head in the same place, in exactly the same way as I did a few years ago in World Chase Step 3.
So, are you scared before the...
Of that bar, yes.
No.
I'm scared of that bar.
So now when he plays, he'll never go that route
I will
again.
never go that route again. Don't use it against me.
But like,
Just herd you into that corner.
like before the
Knock myself
championships, are you scared of getting injured just like that week before?
Of course, yeah. But we're doing everything we can, we're doing everything we can
Do you
to
go-
stay away from that.
Do you go a little bit less?
Yes.
Yeah,
full
we're going
throttle?
normally about 80%. Sometimes 100 for a minute, but like,
You know,
engage it.
before comp, you always deload.
Yeah.
Are there
At
any,
least a week.
Yeah, at least a week before you should deload.
do you know anyone like injured at the moment?
We're all injured.
Is there any like niggles?
Yeah, to be
Oh
honest,
my god, every parkour person in the world has a niggle.
precisely. Yeah, every single member of every team, I think, has niggles.
Are you like
But
your
except
What's
the
that?
two new team members that we have, they're a completely good nick apparently.
Are you just in like their substitute? Like any members of the team?
He's not allowed to be.
I'm not allowed to
You
be.
can't be.
Because I already was. I was already a alternate for Team Blue, which I didn't even know until like the first team meeting. That's like, oh,
Poor
wow.
communication.
Yeah, no, very poor communication because I'm like, oh, I'm part of the B team. I'm like, that's cool. And then they're like, oh, you're alternate for A team. I'm like, damn, everybody thinks I'm good. I'm like, I guess I gotta step up my game.
Well, I think you've got like a technique where you go really slow at the start and then you go. Or
These
is that
guys
not
would
really a
laugh
technique?
at it. These guys laugh at it because they know I'm
Why
just
is that?
messing around with people.
It's because he's not taking it seriously. He doesn't do that in real comps. He wouldn't like. It's just fun.
I
It's
would
like
not
when
try
when
it
we play in
against it.
training, we don't play at 100%. So his sloth style is just to have fun.
So do you play
It works.
mind games with other teams because you train all together? So do you like play mind games with each other?
Well, I
So
feel like-
you know you've got a tactic that you're hiding in your back pocket, saying I'm going to use, and I'm not going to show him because he will know.
He knows my technique already.
The thing
and
is,
I
it's
know,
like-
we know their technique. We polish the things that we are already good at. The things that we're known for, we polish them and we're working on a lot, and we do that in team training.
The thing is, like when we train against each other in France, right? Like there were multiple times where like he tagged me or I tagged him, right? And maybe we'd get tagged in the same spot consistently, and we'd start to ask each other like, okay, so how are you doing that thing? Or he would ask Karun, or he literally would come up to us and be like, how are you doing that, and what should I do
And
otherwise?
would you answer
And you'd
honestly?
answer, you'd answer, be like, well, you should do this.
It's a good sport.
And it's just like him being the best athlete he can be will make me the best athlete I can be. It's like iron sharpens iron. Like if I want him to be shit, I'm never going to get good. If you only play against weak players, you won't get good. And Alex is one of the best players, so I want him to play the best to see if I can keep up with that. If he plays shitly, it's no fun. Right? So when after you warm up, you do start to play for real, and then you start to refine some things. We basically just call it R&D. It's like research and development against each other.
But do you like Formula One where you show a little bit, but you sandbag and you're like, I'm not showing you.
I don't- I
No,
thought
because
it's
we're not really selfish with our technique, with our tips and tricks. Like, especially because Marrero and Ugen, for example, have known each other since the very beginning. We're always up against each other. But it's always really good sport. So we don't mind sharing the tactics because we know that we always train on our own as well.
Yeah.
And we use the knowledge that we have of their techniques to kind of work against it without them as well.
Yeah.
So we do both. There's always an unexpected.
So my big thing is last UK Championships, fat one,
Yeah.
and people in the know knew that Orlando had the court at home,
Yeah.
so that's massive advantage.
Oh yeah.
Because there's not a court in the UK.
Apart from that, no, there isn't.
Yeah.
Is
It's
that
just
hard? Is this hard to compete against the most knowledgeable team?
100%. You can definitely see in competition and in practice when you go against someone who's had the court for a year or two, they get to use it all the time.
Yeah.
Like Charles has an 8-meter court that's a miniature in his studio.
That's the one in Lyon, is it?
no, that's
in Lille. Or Paris.
no, it's Paris. The
yeah.
8 meters. There's 2 8 meters. One in Lyon, one in Paris,
Yeah.
and there's one 12 meter in Lille. and there's another 12 meter around.
So
but it's not
he has
really
it in his own personal studio that he works from, and he gets to go there all the time. He gets to bring other athletes to come and train with it. He's going to do a mini competition there as well. Look out for that. So yeah, it really shows in their practice that they know the quad. They don't slow down in certain places like people would. So it definitely helps.
Are there many courts in America? I know Denver's got one. Is it Denver?
Yeah,
but that's blocks, not the actual court.
No, actually, Denver, Apex, they have gotten their own legit quad now. And
Is it real?
Is it real?
Is it plastic?
It's plastic. It's
Oh
made
my
out
God,
of,
called
It's
it.
made out of plastic. Yes, exactly. A lot of PVC pipes.
I did want to ask this. Like in America, it does seem everything's a little bit softer and padded and really safe. Is it to do with health and safety? Or?
Exactly, because
Their
when you
laws
have
are
little
restricted.
children, when you have little children on it, then they hurt themselves. Then you gotta call the ambulance, and you're gonna get sued.
I mean, it wasn't padded enough for Bear. He still broke his rib. So,
No comment on that.
Did he break his rib on the soft one?
yeah, well, it's the one Apex have. So if it's soft and PVC, that's got some weak ribs.
The one he used for the competition is soft and PVC.
Nah.
No,
He's
I was
fucking.
gonna say.
Yeah, he's fucking.
So this actually shows, you know, he's been training in soft quad. So he's like, yeah, I can hit myself and define. And then he goes into the real competition, smacks himself once and breaks a rib.
There you go. GG, no
Does
reason.
that
Have PVC quads.
So do you think that affects the American teams compared to
I
the
do think this is a
British
joke.
one?
Yeah,
This is satire.
yeah.
This is
But
not.
it's fun to chase.
Yeah, I know.
See what I did there?
So what's your favourite part of the quads? Do you have a favourite part?
The
Is it
ridge.
like the sisters? Or-
The ridge.
I love the ridge. Everyone loves the ridge. The best EQ in the whole fucking quad.
To be honest, I don't use it enough. I need to. And actually, I was
Got to evolve the game.
after I hit my head, we were training
Actually, the
the
sisters.
ridge a lot,
Yeah.
but I couldn't do it because every time I moved that, my hand bled.
Why do you like the sisters?
So I was just watching really intently, learning.
You
we
can go
learned a lot.
over or under.
Yeah.
Over or under.
Yeah. There's no favourite spot there really.
Is there any danger spot in the
Lazy boy.
Yeah, the twin sisters.
The lazy boy is the worst.
Starting plate.
Lazy boy. Bottom left is the lowest EQ, but it's
Out of the four.
out of the four corners, and it's deceptive because you feel like you can stop there and you can't. So that's the worst bit.
It's the easiest to reach from the bar as well, so it's the smallest.
And it's easy just to flush people out to that because basically people always double back along the front line. There's nothing to protect you at all. Like on the loading bay, there's a little bar now because it used to be open. And now there's a little bar to literally protect people from getting shot out like that. There's not on the lazy bay yet. Yeah, exactly. It goes into the platform.
If I'm right, there was a move I saw, I think in the USA one where they dive through.
Yeah, they love that.
Is that a new technique everyone's trying
Very
to
American thing, isn't it?
Dives?
Yes. Oh, we train with him.
very.
We train with him on Wednesday.
I mean, like full on like penguin slides.
Do you like all
Oh, I don't like
try and
penguin
do it?
size.
No, they're
I've done
not.
it.
Oh my god.
They're not efficient if you are ready for them. So like Seth Wang was the first person to do it against Marrero back at World Chase like 4, and we never seen it before. So it like took everyone off guard. But now literally all Americans train that, so it's not going to catch anyone off guard anymore. And it's like one of the most telegraphed things if you watch your chaser. You can see they're going to do that because you have to load
Just the
up
first
for
time
it.
you see it, even the first competition, it's like
It catches you off
you don't
guard.
have time to get used to it.
Yep.
So you just get to it.
But now it's almost a
Now
standard
we've
thing.
trained against it so much that we pretty much know when to do it.
Yeah. But like when you say that everyone trains it, right? Like if you watch the Apex Doge matches, Zoontopol, Damien Zoontopol, he's part of Doge, right? He's like 6'4" or something. He's like massive. Yet he wants to play like a small person. So like a lot of them train that same slide style, even when it doesn't fit their body
So
type.
like Ugen, you've got Haroon who are
Yeah, so
tall,
right, we're not
and
going to
yourself, and
then
then
Dane.
Dane, who's
Just
They
fast.
they should play totally differently. But but a lot of people see the slides and think they're cool, and then just keep on wanting to do them. I think.
for the upcoming championships, who's the most, or the ones to watch out for? Like
It's very hard to tell.
athletes, which athletes?
Athletes or teams?
Athletes.
Athletes, Orlando. And Luke.
Yeah, Orlando is
Has he regressed?
I mean, he's the one to watch out for in terms of tag and evading. Chases and evading. Luke, I'd say you have to watch out when you're evading him.
Yeah, he's not a great evader.
I think an evader himself, he's not that good.
No.
Careful what you say now. You're on camera.
I mean, it's not. Look, bro. Luke literally fucking rebooted. He's one of the best chasers because he's got more speed than Brett. He's basically the fastest athlete. He's basically the fastest athlete on the court and like can just run you down no matter what. So yeah, he's very
Luke,
very good.
I want to hear your response.
But when
even
when he evades, you know, like he's not the best evader, but he didn't score any points in UK.
And Justin, who you looking out for? Anyone in particular?
Honestly, nobody in particular. I came with the motion of like, I want to learn and watch all these guys because I've never seen them in person. It's one thing to see stuff in video, but like to see it in person, you understand it a lot more.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm excited for the Americans to see Lando, because I just think they don't quite understand like how fucking good he is, and they're all just like. From talking to people, I feel like they just underestimate how quick that boy is. Like,
and that's all
his ability to accelerate.
Yeah, ability to accelerate, but also like he will move in a way that's like he's stalking you. Like he is literally an animal in the jungle stalking you.
Yeah.
And you won't know when to move because he's just moving so slowly, but he's still closing the gap. You know?
Yeah.
It's very.
I think
it's very interesting.
Yeah. He's like people know how good he is, but yet somehow still underrate him. It's the same with Haroon. It's like they know how good he is at tagging, yet they're like, oh, I can get away from him. It's like.
So big question is Haroon going to keep that title or bit uninvaded?
If he even plays,
I mean,
like we might
that's like a fake title anyways. I'm sorry, there's been people who have evaded. I swear to God.
Oh yeah, one guy. Yeah, no. One
Every
guy.
comment on YouTube, this is always coming up.
Okay, let me clear this up. Let me clear this up real quick.
Clear out. Yeah, here we go.
The only time someone who's ever actually won a point against Haroon was this like kid in Wales in like Swansea. It was the first competition we've ever played, and basically Haroon. There's a video of Haroon tagging him on the foot. The kid not noticing. Haroon being like, and then carrying on with the chase. And this was like when there was no DTRs, when the referee was still in the court running around. Like if you watch the video, the referee is on the court running around, and there's just one ref.
And this is an actual quad.
This is an actual quad setup, and it was a qualifier. So it's like saying that an amateur fighter has lost 7 fights, but is undefeated in his pro career. It's like his pro career, he's still undefeated. It doesn't matter about his amateur record. It's the same thing for Haroon. No one in a real competition has actually scored a point against him.
So if I'm right, this is first time.
So this is the first
time we played.
Wales. This is the first match they ever played in World Chase Tag. So it's basically the one that got them into the official.
Yeah, meaning this is the first championship where American teams and.
Are you talking about?
Coming up. Yes.
Yeah.
So is Haroon going to?
Second.
So do you think with all the best players, athletes in the world coming, is he going to continue that?
It doesn't matter. Of course, like Ugen have played more international teams than any other team in the world. We played Americans, French, Dutch. We played all the international teams already. It doesn't matter that they're coming from across the pond. We're still going to be able. He's still going to be able to keep that record. He's just too good at his game to not allow that to happen. If somebody like Lando, who is one of the best, fastest players on the court, can't evade Haroon when he's fresh, when Haroon isn't at 100%.
Have they gone against each other?
Yeah, twice.
Can't remember.
Lando went against him against the third match, and then when he went out again, Lando was fresh. He spiked Andy, and then Haroon went out. So you can't say that Lando wasn't fresh.
So what I'm sure.
So it's like, I just don't think someone. You played against him in France as well. Like it's so difficult to evade that man.
What I'm sorry, just the names you've brought up, and you've not brought up people like Cole Sobelman.
It's not a threat.
It's not a threat.
No.
Is this like
No.
shirt out? Because
To be honest, I think he's a bit too chill.
It's not even that he's a bit too chilled. He's got one route and one rhythm. Like what actually
so
makes.
this is going to be a clip here. You're saying he's not a threat. So
Was Javier a threat to us?
Richard versus Kyle
We didn't go
on the
against
first chase in the world.
So if we go out and we get to decide to, if we get genuinely, if we decide to evade, like if we win the rock paper scissors, against Hollywood Freerunners, we will allow them to evade first. We'll literally be like, go evade first, because then we send Haroon against Kyle and we demoralize them because their best evader can't evade our best chaser. The thing is with Kyle is like, he's like Javier. Like there's contrast between Javier and Kyle all the time, right? Javier can't evade me, right? Haroon's better at tagging than I am. And Javier is objectively better than Kyle because he holds the world record now. So it's like, it's MMA math. MMA math.
Also,
Good way to put
not having
It is
the
MMA math.
world record holder of Xavier.
Oh yeah, he's not in this comp, is he?
He's
No.
not in the comp.
Big sad.
Is that going to be a game changer?
No, because
Or
the
is he
nature
not?
of how he got that record is very, very simple. It can be explained the fact that they went against a very weak team.
Same
Very
crowd.
weak team.
You're loving
And he
this.
lapped the whole
Dude, I'm
team.
loving it.
Bro,
It's obvious. He
Yeah.
lapped the whole team 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Essentially.
same with Soderman.
And that's the reason he's got all the information, because it so happened nobody on the opposing team was even close to his level, or his level of
That's what-
smart and competency.
And that's what I mean with Kyle as well. Is every time Kyle goes up against actually really high level chasers, like I bet the best person I can give an example of is Michael Schleiger. Yeah, Michael Schleiger is one of the top level chasers in all of America, in my opinion, and he's the only person that I would draw any correlations with Haroon, like of how good he is at chasing and like the way he moves and his court IQ. Right, whenever he goes up against Soderman, he demolishes him very easily, and he demolished Soderman in a fucking evasion as well. It's like anytime a high level evader that gets constant evasion goes up against an actual good chaser, they get caught. Like
It's a fluke.
It's literally
And what's your stance on this?
Come on.
Justin?
Come on.
I think there's some points here at this table that have already been said. All I just want to say is still don't take them too lightly. Because who knows? Like, you just never know.
The thing is,
You
we
never-
can sit here,
Of course
we
you
can
never.
talk rubbish about everybody in the competition easily. But when we get there, we're going to treat everyone the same as we treat.
So with
You have to treat everyone with the utmost respect when you actually step on the
Yeah.
court and play against them. Because
If you
for a-
relax,
if you for a second relax, you'll
that's
just lose.
weakness.
this is
Yeah.
coming from Ugen, who I mean, known for
That's the
Taking
mind
the
game.
piss.
That's the
Yeah,
mind
that's
game.
the mind game.
Again, that's
Taunting
not that's not disrespecting anybody though. Like
But does it come across?
of course it comes across like that, but actually what we feel is it's not actually disrespecting. And the thing as well is like at the end of the match we're always trying to help other people out. Like for instance Run London, right? We trained Run London before their match against Marrero Gang in the last event. Now if we went up against Run London, would we take the piss out of them? 100%. We still like them as people and want to help them as much as possible. But when you play, it's not disrespect, it's just trying to win the game.
Has it ever gone too far?
I don't think
Where
so.
an athlete's got a bit
Oh,
annoyed.
I don't want to call out names, but like,
Yes, definitely.
it's happened before. Yeah.
Well, I think UTX as well. Like you can see, they kind of got annoyed when they were playing us.
The thing
And
is,
if they-
it's not that they're annoyed at somebody else; they're annoyed at themselves.
Yeah, it's like when they get they think when you think you can evade someone, when you think you can beat someone, and then like none of that happens. You know, like
You get frustrated.
Yeah.
Some people let it go to their head, and then they actually just run out the match, run out the court.
And it,
Who could that
do you
be?
think anyone
punch a wall.
else is going to use that tactic just in the competition?
Oh, what's that again?
The
goading,
taunting
the
and
goading.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
I just want to see people dance and be like, yo, baby, come to me.
to be fair,
Or is it like, was it Greg who was tying his shoelaces?
Go, Kyle.
yeah, was that even planned though?
No, it wasn't planned though. Your shoelaces are undone. You're not going to chase with them undone, are you? You're going to use that 25 seconds, 30 seconds back then, to do off your shoelaces.
That was pretty sick too. Bro. That's one of the coolest
Amazing.
things. Yeah.
Amazing.
You can't underestimate it. Like every match we go into, regardless of like we've got Overground in our group, right? And they're a team that never really competed in anything. They've got a court though. It's like if we take them lightly, they could just completely knock us out. And again, it's happened to both of our teams in the past, with GNF and United. It's like maybe we took them seriously, but like United, for example, we sent Minigut, like one of our weakest players at the time, accidentally against one of their best players. We didn't know Loic was one of their best players, but he was, and he proved that he was throughout the competition. But so we took him too lightly because we looked at him and we were like, oh, he might not be that fast. Surely Minigup has the speed to like counter him, but then Loic was super unorthodox, super weird routing, and Minigup got confused. Just like, if you don't take someone seriously, that's what's going to end up happening, right? And the rest of the match was a stalemate between United. It was 1-0. It wasn't like we got dominated by them, but we just made the wrong decision because we underestimated our opponent. And if you ever do that in any competition, you're going to lose. So no matter how much shit we talk, we will take everybody like very, very seriously.
Finally on athletes, how important is it with the team captains? Like Greg,
here we go.
With his folder,
Little clipboard, yeah.
and then we've got captain over here.
I'm not that like that though.
So how important is it with captains?
I think there's an element that keeps you ahead in the game as a captain, as you feel the support when someone shouts support at you, but it's like you choose how much of that you take in.
To be honest, I find that
you already know the tactics in your head. You just need your captain to tell you, like, to confirm them. That's it.
Yes.
I just laughed at Greg Ball was trying to be Sir Alex Ferguson in a Manchester United match.
To be honest,
Kieran's like,
nobody would have said
hairdryer.
nobody would have said anything about it if the commentator didn't, as well.
Greg was literally taking the piss out of Lando on the start of play. Like, let's be real, he was doing worse stuff than what we do, because we do it on the court. He was trying to get into the player's head before they got on the court. He was saying like, "Oh, you can't catch him. You can't catch him." You can literally see him doing it.
So
but the captain stuff. Even though I have the title of captain, I'm kind of low-key not. Haroon is more of the captain than I am, because he's actually the one who's way more tactically minded than me.
When I met Haroon, he's very stand back, watches,
Yeah,
and
so
very tactical, like that way.
So honestly, it was kind of weird because we didn't even select a captain in the team too much. It just kind of got given to us by Damien and Christian almost. Like they're just like, oh, so you, because I was the one always dealing with them, so they just kind of got like. It wasn't really a team voting who to have a captain.
It was just natural.
It was just kind of natural, but Haroon is the one who does more of the kind of analytics in terms of on the day than I do.
What captains are there?
Davis, Kyle.
Right.
So he's got
Mark
Taylor
Bowles.
for.
He's not a captain though. He's just a
how do
tactician.
you rate Davis as a captain?
He's a manager.
Team captain.
As a captain, I'd say
Javier was. Manager, yeah, because he doesn't play. You have to be.
I can't really answer that question only because like I'm not on that team, because I would imagine that it's just him and Seth, like the both mixed together to make that team.
Yeah, I think Seth and Davis have a similar dynamic to like me and Haroon in a way. Like they both kind of make
an important role in the World Chase Tag teams to have that captain role?
I only say to some extent, to be honest, because the sport's still very new.
Yeah, also,
I mean, not new to you guys. For us, it's still very new.
It definitely depends on the team as well. If you have a very good team dynamic and you're all friends, you've been friends for years, it's all the same people, then I don't think you really need a captain that much, because everybody's vote is the same.
I think
everybody's ideas count.
I think like on the day, it matters to have that person who can almost detach themselves from the situation for a second and like be able to give you clear and like simple instructions. Because like when you get tunnel visioned on something, it can become really hard. Like when we played in Lyon against the French guys, Haroon got injured and took a step back and stopped playing because one of the guys landed on his head, right? And he like fucking basically got concussed. So he couldn't play anymore. So then he was just giving me loads of instructions the whole time, and I was able to just focus on solely playing, while somebody was telling me like basically how to play in a way. And when the footage comes out, you can literally hear him, because the audience is so quiet, you can hear him yelling play-by-plays to me and me reacting to them. So like there's a moment where I want to go towards the ridge and he yells through the mountain and I immediately swap and go through. It's like that sort of stuff is really useful.
Out.
Oh, the groupings?
Yeah. Is that a new one? I don't think that's happened before. You've got a group?
We just never had that many teams.
No, the thing is, we've never had this many teams or groups. They did this in America.
Yeah.
They did the same thing. But the World Championship has only ever had 8 teams normally.
Because it's less brutal. Because like the UK Championships, if you bugger up that one match, you're out of competition.
Oh yeah.
So it's very brutal. and you could possibly lose.
by the way.
Like you guys could have gone out the first round and you're UK champion.
But now it's not
you
like that
saved it
I think it's
at
nice
the right
now.
end.
I think it's nice now.
So it's a little bit more
Forgiving.
forgiving. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the word.
Also, because if the U.S. teams get knocked out in the first game, they're all going to be crying that they came all the way over here for nothing.
On that
For sure.
point, have they had to fund it themselves?
I honestly don't know for this one.
No,
Because I'm not going.
There's a travel budget.
Okay.
Yeah, there normally is for the big competitions. Yeah, there normally is for big competitions. You get more budget for each team depending on where you come from. So the UK teams get less.
So do you prefer the new format, say for the
Yes.
UK teams than
Yeah.
American?
Yeah. Because like, look,
Give an example.
GNF, right, came into the first USA competition as the favourites to win the whole competition.
And
Right?
they got
and they
bloody close.
They got lost. They lost in the first match to Fiveborough, right? That was like a big upset, right? Because Fiveborough just took out the number one contestants. But then GNF won the next two matches and came top of their seed, so to go through to the quarterfinals. It's like if they didn't have that time to then play the other two matches, they wouldn't have put on such a good performance because they've just been knocked out straight away, right? So it's a bit it would be a bit unfair. Like sometimes people are just slow starters. Like like Stek as well. Like some of his first games are his worst games, and then he gets to the finals and he performs incredibly well. But it's like if you just get knocked out in the first round, you get no time to warm up. So having a guaranteed 3 matches is better as well. It's also better for sponsors, better for
You
everyone
get to
because
see more of the athletes actually
Yeah.
perform at their best and good variation between different athletes.
and there's less pressure on your new. There's also less pressure on your new players because like in a UK tournament, I didn't want to send Dave or Emil to play because like if they fuck up and we lose, we don't go through to the next round. I would rather ensure that we get through to the next round by sending me, Haroon, Dane or Andy in that competition to ensure we get through to the next round. It would make more sense to do that. But now with this format, we get to play multiple teams, multiple times. So like if we send Emil out and we can still pull it back and get through, even if we lose one game. So yes, it's a lot less pressure, and you get a much more of a feel out process.
So there's big matches in most groups. So you've got the reigning US champions
Facing-
against 3-time champions.
Oh, no,
Would
no.
you say world champions? I know it's classed as world champions.
They don't have that in their group. The Apex are
No?
not in their group. No.
Have I
it's
got that
not.
wrong?
Apex Doge. So you got to remember Apex have 2 teams.
So,
that's
yes,
where
so
you're confused.
Apex.
Apex
I thought I
Doge
saw
came.
it. Oh no, it's that. So
Yeah.
sorry, the reigning both
So the
reigning
reigning UK
champions,
champs are against the reigning
reigning
American
US.
champs.
Is that a big game?
Yeah, that's a big match.
Who do you, Justin? Who do you think will win up between the 2 reigning champions?
I had.
We discussed this the other
Yeah,
day.
we discussed this the other day.
I
And, like,
really think the Americans are going to win.
that's why I said
That's what
going
he
into
said.
it.
That's what he said.
That's what I said.
You're wrong.
Why is that?
I know.
Why do you think the
think it
Americans
matters.
will win?
Just
That
based
matters-
off of
matters
the
much
fact
more
that
than
they
they're
have a
making
quad. And not only that, but like
Healing.
they just
Low
been
point.
completely dominated.
Have you not seen what he
I
did? How was he injured?
I don't see them.
It's fine. And
I don't
and
see
Luke
them having a difficult
Stones.
time. But
So they got their 2.
to be fair, for
best
like
players are total
somebody
players,
like
so-
Team Fab,
Me and Haroon believe
they completely
you can beat
dominated
any
too.
team with 2 good players.
But
So we
also they have
and the
Orlando.
right
That,
matchups. You
that athlete has the quad in his backyard too.
You literally won your match with 2
So
players.
once I kind of like put those 2 in consideration, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a lot closer than I think it would be.
And then you're
Yeah,
against Hollywood,
Fat are going to win that match.
Just hands down.
Hands down, Fat.
Yeah.
and then you got Hollywood free runners in your group.
Yeah, GNF.
And
GNF
So
are the
that-
ones to worry about.
When I saw that, I thought, my God, that is tough. Being former Ugen sponsors, I was like, oh my God, that is really.
They're our toughest matchup in that group for sure because we've got them, Hollywood, and Overground.
Is overground.
Hollywood is basically Kyle and Co. So it's like you just got to beat one guy. And
Oh,
then
you're
you'll be
really,
alright.
you're really calling Kyle out.
Over,
here, aren't you?
overground.
So,
Overground.
He doesn't like big titles on people.
Overground is like you know, they haven't played in a big competition before, but they've got a court, which makes them like a big threat. But GNF are like, I think they're the most seasoned players we're going to go against and have the deepest roster. Because the thing is, like, when you look at Hollywood Freerunners, like, Kyle is their biggest threat. So you just have to negate him as much as possible and try and play against him, basically. And then the other players, like, I don't think they match up well against our play style, if that makes sense. So, like, some of the guys like Dale and Omar, Zaki, like, their play styles don't go well against ours because the way we play, right? And the way I play, Dane plays, all that sort of stuff. And then with GNF, they've actually got such a deep roster because they've got, you know, Davis, who is a very veteran player, Seth Rugi, they've got Jared Ludi, they've got Sean, they've got what's his name? Jiu-Jitsu. What's his name? Julius Porter. Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu something. Julius Porter. Yeah.
I only said it one time.
What, Jiu-Jitsu? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
He was the one who was meant to be here.
He was the one who was meant to be here. But yeah, he's like he's a very good player and he plays on the court quite a lot as well. So they've got like a deep roster of people who've kind of performed quite well whenever they've gone out for the most part. Apart from Julius, but Julius has improved a lot.
Do you know why Seth Wine left GNF?
He's an Apex kid. He's an Apex kid. He trained in the Apex gyms. So he just came on with GNF for that one tournament, and then when Apex were able to enter, they just joined them. He was always trained by Apex. He was just friends with.
And then who's your biggest competition in your group?
It's going to be... I always forget.
Kimio, Parkour 59, Doge.
Kimio, I think, probably.
Are they?
Kimio.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be the strongest team.
Do you think you're going to come winners in that group?
To be honest, we're in quite a good position in our group because no matter if we win or lose, we're going to be in a good place or a bad place. Basically, it's like a double-edged sword. If we win our group, we get a harder team.
You go straight to
So
the
you get easy team.
quarters. So if
Yeah, easy team plays.
so, the formats that I understood was that if you win, you go to the quarters, and then
Greg's a little different.
No, you get an easy team. Because
We get an easy team if we lose. Because
if you win your group, you get one less match,
you go to the quarters.
and
don't
you go straight to the quarters and become the number one seed in your group.
yeah, but then in that quarters we'll get a stronger team.
Against you, what do you mean, like on the first
Fewer
round?
games, but harder match.
So you have to win your playoff.
Yeah.
So it's like you end up playing an extra game.
But it's
still
an
get-
easy one.
So you got number 2 and number 3 seeds going to the playoff.
Yeah. So
And then
every
the winner
number
goes to the quarterfinals.
so every number 2 seed plays every number 3 seed,
Yeah.
and every number 3 seed plays every number 2 seed. So the 3 seed has the harder job to get through because they came third.
So you two both believe you're gonna get to that quarterfinal.
We come first or second in my group, for sure. If we beat GNF, we come first. If we lose GNF, we come second. It's that simple.
Are
I
there
think it's pretty settled, but
Yeah.
are there any other up and coming teams? Like, is it the Czech ones or the pizza?
I've seen very little of them.
Also, people always like to draw a
pasta,
contrast.
you mean?
Pasta
Pasta.
mood. Pizza mood. People draw a contrast between
Sorry,
Team
Pete.
Fat being the first, like being like, oh, this is the first time Team Fat played,
Yeah.
and they went on to win. It's like, yeah, Team Fat, that was the first time they played. But you also got to remember they had 3 people who played in the backyards: Lando, Luke, and Abdullah. And Luke played for Motus before. It's like they all had veteran players. But traditionally speaking, new teams tend to get stomped by old teams. Like if you're an experienced team, you're gonna normally beat an inexperienced team for the most part. So all the new teams that are joining, like the 3 who haven't played an actual tournament, I think they all lose.
Just the way the fat team came together was very, very good. Very good for them watching their favour.
So who are the underdogs?
The good underdogs? Or
Yeah.
just the favourite underdogs?
The underdogs to win the whole tournament.
No, that's the favourites.
The underdogs.
The underdogs who are like, nobody looks at, but they'll be very good.
Justin, who do you think is going to be the underdog?
Hollywood Freerunners.
To be honest, actually, you might be right, you know.
You know, it's funny because I said in the second USA comp, like, I don't think that they're gonna make it through their first match, and I was proven wrong. And heck, they may get to the finals, but also, you know, other stuff played into the fact. factored into that comp too.
Yeah, I mean, the way they got to the finals, like, because of the TV break and all that sort of stuff that happened, the kind of controversy around it, I think GNF should have won that match. Like, I think GNF were
And I do agree with that
GNF
too.
were just playing a better game, and we get to see that run back this competition coming up. It's like literally their second match is Hollywood versus GNF, so you get to finally see who should have won that. I think GNF just take it. Like, I don't think, especially because Miguel, like in my opinion, is Hollywood's second strongest player behind Kyle, and he's not there. So like one of their best taggers and one of a good evader is.
Yo, why are you not here?
Arguably, the reason they got through their second match is because of Miguel, because he was the one who clutched up a point when Kyle didn't. So it's like, I think Miguel scored 2, right, and Kyle scored 1 in their second match. So it's like, you know, that's kind of one of their better players. They also always come in jet lagged, they always come in slightly injured, they're all stuntmen. Like, I also don't think they've ever faced any pressure like they're going to face in the UK, like against any of the UK teams. Like, they might make it through the groups, but I reckon in the quarters or the semis, if they get there, they'll get stomped by any UK team. And I think for the most part, we stomp. Like, our defense stat is too high. So if you look at it like that, I think they have a very rough time in our group.
So far in competition, you've got American teams from the UK,
Yeah.
a couple of French,
4 French.
a new Italian, which is
Czech team as well.
pasta, not pizza.
That's pasta moves. Those guys are pretty cool, to be fair.
A Czech team, which I think is quite
Czech
cool.
PK.
Yeah, Czech PK. You got Schlappen,
Schlappen.
which is a German team, and my picks for the underdogs, which is Fata Morgana.
So
I think who's an Israeli. I think Fata Morgana, the Israeli team, are the underdogs in this comp. I think they're going to go far.
You've got the American side and the European side. Do you think eventually you'll see more of like an Asian side?
Yeah, we had it in
Or
previous
like an
competitions.
African side? Like, is that going to be
Actually, there's already
more?
been 2 Chinese championships. There's been 2 Chinese championships, and the same team have won twice.
But do you think they're going to be joining the Worlds in
They
future
wanted
series?
to join the Worlds. They were meant to be here. They had to pull out last minute because of the lockdown.
So
They
essentially,
literally, they literally went back into lockdown.
That's what it is.
It's unfortunate the circumstances in the world.
But do you
They
think
should
that
be
will,
here.
They literally should be here.
do you think that will make it more of a even more credible championship?
Yeah, I think this is the first.
countries would be good.
This is the first competition ever that you can actually call like a world championship, in my opinion. Like,
So many different.
because there's so many different countries, so many different teams, and you're really like, this, in all the other competitions, whoever's won, there's like kind of been some questions like, oh well, they haven't faced the American teams, oh they haven't faced these guys. This one's going to be like everyone is
deciding
facing
one.
everyone. Whoever wins, like this is like
This is the
this
big
is the
decision.
one.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Big deciding
And
thing.
how
Who's the best?
how would they
Yeah,
be
yeah,
regarded? So how would they be regarded amongst the community?
Chinese
From-
teams.
Yeah, or Asian teams, or because
I want to see South American teams, so I'm wondering if that's what the Pan Ams are.
could that be
Pan
your
American,
team?
yeah. Pan American
Could
Championship.
you create your own team?
If not, I'd definitely coach a team for Ecuador. I'd like that. I've
that'd be
mentioned it to the
sick.
community out there,
That'd be sick.
and they're all for it. They like chase tag.
Like
They like
I
the
know there's
content.
one of you, a fan who lives in the Philippines. And
AJ.
Oh,
AJ
AJ.
is
AJ.
massive.
Shout out to you, AJ.
He's got so much like stats on each of you. And
Yep.
He's-
So
Who's
up-
this?
AJ, one of
AJ.
the fans.
AJ.
He's so cool.
World Chase Tag fans, yeah.
so he'd like see more like Asian teams like that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we were meant to, like, so Kimio and Parkour 59 weren't actually meant to be in this competition, as far as I'm aware. Like, they didn't qualify, and they weren't, like, fully meant to be invited because we were meant to have 2 Asian teams, but because they pulled out, it made the most sense to put 2 teams, because Kimio have actually beaten the world champions already, and they've beaten the European champions already, and Parkour 59 have a quad, and have played in, like, multiple different comps. So it's like, they invited them along. So
Worthy competitors and arguably better than Asian.
yeah, I think it kind of makes no sense to not have Kimio on it. Like Kimio have to be involved because when you beat the world champions in a flight club and then beat Blacklist in a flight club, the European champions, it's kind of rude not to invite you to the worlds. But yeah, I think soon enough there'll be more and more like. Ideally, there's more and more regional qualifiers. So like right now we only have 2 regional qualifiers, the UK and America, and everyone else is technically a wild card apart from United because of the world champs. But soon enough we'll have like a Paris qualifier, like say all the French teams qualify, all the UK teams qualify, all the American teams qualify, all the Asian teams qualify. Like that's ideally what you do, and you pick the 4 best teams from those areas, and then they all come together. But it's hard to do that. It's really hard to do that. Yeah. But I think that's how you get the best teams, opposed to just inviting random teams that never competed. But hey.
Cool. I mean, to be honest, yeah, still early days for the sport. That's why
it's like 5, 6 years old.
And
7 years old.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I think it's massive. They're doing the female.
Oh yeah, I'm super
so
excited about that. Yeah. I'm so excited because this is
Because when we met and you came to Norwich,
Yes.
I asked the question: are they going to add
we didn't
females
know.
to it?
Well, the thing is, there's been like in Apk Grey, Ashley, she competed alongside them. So women have competed in the past, and Overground do have a female athlete on board with their team because the sport is like unisex. Like anyone can enter, and we're not against women competing.
So will it be still unisex, or will it be?
No,
I think the nature of it
Two.
is
Yeah.
the nature of it is now we're going for the split competition
But-
because it will make it.
It will make it more fair, or like it will make it better, I think, and more inclusive. But women will still be allowed to join men's teams.
Yeah.
Like there's more like not men's teams, but like the regular tournament in a way.
So like darts,
Yeah.
you have females competing in the world.
Yeah, of
darts,
course. But there's also their own league.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go about it. And I think after this match airs on the Sunday, on next Sunday,
Correct.
that's when the females matches. I think you'll see a surge in women wanting to
100%,
to compete because like.
And is
That's-
that
at the moment
There's
they
so
might
many
be-
studies showing that inclusiveness. When you see someone like you do a sport
And
you're
do
like,
well.
and do well, you're like, you're more likely to do
it's
that.
sold, yeah.
and is that crucial? Do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's great for the sport, and I think the sport wouldn't go nearly as far as it can go without women in it.
No, not at all. Because think like if you look at the stats on YouTube of Damien and Christian, it's like something like 92% of all the watchers are men.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe there's a reason for that because there's not a lot of women competing in it. And as soon as you see the women's match, I bet you most of the people watching that are gonna be women, and it's just gonna bring more people into the sport.
And then also, it's such a young sport. Do you think there'll end up being like a league in each country, like in American League and a
That's
UK
the goal.
League,
That's at the end of the
where
day,
you
that's the goal.
compete week in, week out for a season against each other? So
They wanted this from the beginning. They that is why they called it World Stack. They wanted to be all around the world inclusive, and they wanted every country to have their own league. It just connects everybody.
It's also they want to just feed into the grassroots of it like football. They want everybody to be able to play essentially, and the more teams you get, the more countries you get involved, the more people will just play it basically. And that's always been the goal, I think, literally since the very, very beginning. Very, very nice.
Incredible.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Back here again.
Can I grab just like a bottle of tap water and some glasses? Thank you so much.
It's hot down here. It's a greenhouse.
Yeah, it's very, very warm.
I think what it needs,
Thank you.
so not to compare the two, but Ninja Warrior had Casey Catanzaro. She just had a YouTube clip go viral, and that's what got all the women interested in wanting to try Ninja. Because before it was completely male dominated. So something to kind of that extent or similarity would have to happen for this.
But it's the same thing. As soon as you see like people similar to you play something or do something, you're like, oh, I can do that. Like if Chinese people are watching Americans and then they see a Chinese team play, they're like, oh shit, there's someone out in China playing this. I can like go look down that rabbit hole and find someone to play with here. And every country is the same, and genders are the same, races. If you see people like you do something, you're like, well, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
If you don't see anyone like you do something, you're like, well, that's impossible.
It's actually very interesting because World Chase Tag originally was never meant to be just meant for freerunners or parkour practitioners.
Oh yeah.
It was meant to be all inclusive for any athlete or anyone who literally wants to do it. It just so happened that everybody who does it now is essentially a parkour athlete.
I find it
because
really
they are the best.
interesting.
But then it does. I forgot what I was going. Sorry. But yeah,
I think I know where you're going.
But I find it
Continue,
really
though.
interesting because it's a sport we all play as kids.
Yeah.
It or chase, and you all play it, in the playground.
I forgot. I remember where I was going.
Go
In the
for
comment
it.
section in the YouTube, on YouTube, every single YouTube video is like, oh, if I tried this, I'd run headfirst into a bar, like Andy did.
Oh, you.
Calling out Niggles. Let's keep it fun. Yeah. But yeah, everybody says.
Okay,
Most
insert
people-
bad scorpion diving.
He got the tag though.
He did. I can't believe people were like, oh, sorry, I'm interrupting. Carry on.
So comment section, everybody goes, I could never do this, I'd run headfirst into a bar, you know, and this kind of seeing, as you said, people from every country doing it, from people at all levels, women, it'll kind of bring it down to their level, make it more accessible to them, all of them, and they will inevitably feel like they can do this. Parkour itself as a sport has always been commented in the same way. Like, I could never do this, I'd break my leg, you know, I'd break my neck.
I saw that was so close.
And I think this is an actually good way to make the sport, make things like running under a bar less scary for everybody.
What's great is like you mentioned the fact that it wasn't made for just parkour athletes, which I think is like so true and was awesome in the early days. There's this guy called T-Bone. I don't know if you remember
He was
T-Bone.
on our team.
He was not even a free runner. He was like a fucking tennis player and
Yeah, he
rugby
was a tennis player, yeah.
He was so sick. Like he was so good. I'd love to see him like play again, to be honest. And like Mark Bowles as well. Like I know Mark Bowles is a free runner, right? But like if you watch him play, he never vaults really, and he never goes over like the mountain. He never does any rail strides really. He just plays like a beautiful game of like basically scrambling and timing. And it shows like, although he's doing parkour, like it's not all the high up crazy stuff that you see someone like Javier do or fucking Andy do. You know, he plays super safely and is just really good at timing and like the court IQ. So it shows that anyone can get involved. And also he's kind of chubby, and it's like it's dope to see him. Like he's literally like the second best. I think he's like number 2 or 3 ranked in all of USA. And he's like this kind of chubby, average-looking guy, and I fucking love
It's funny
him.
you
I
said
love that so much.
Anyone who's essentially takes up a lot of space with their body, someone say for example who weightlifts or is very bulky. No, weightlifting. Even people who are very, very muscly, you think they wouldn't be able to move fast. They can use their tactics to their advantage. Kieran Hawkins on our team, for example.
Oh, he's a thick boy.
Yeah, he's swole. He's got a lot of muscle on him. He's not that flexible, but he used essentially very little parkour in competitions and did incredibly well because of his tactics.
Yeah, this thing is Kieran is like a fantastic tactician. Like he really has a good understanding of court IQ and timing and like how to hurt people. And he fucking tagged Lando. He actually did tag Lando even though it wasn't given to him. Like, so it shows like Lando is one of the
There was a
fastest.
dispute, very controversial
So
dispute.
He fucking tagged him.
Also,
Like,
another
straight
thing,
up,
I
he
think,
tagged him.
do you find, like what I did, where did I go wrong as a sponsor?
Nothing.
Or,
You did. The thing is, no, like seriously, like you gave us everything we needed to. Like we laid out what we wanted from you. You provided that, and we provided the stuff that you wanted from us, and we had a great relationship. Like there was never any
And still
issues
do.
between. Yeah, and still do. Like exactly. And you know, it's cool to like when we wear the t-shirts we have. To have the logo on and people be like, oh, who's that? And even when we went to Lyon, we had your logo because we competed in the UK and then
and
Lyon.
like Justin, you said earlier, that's how you saw my brand.
Yeah.
Because of the logo on the
Yeah,
top.
there's
I'm like
multiple
it.
French people as well.
Yeah, like it just makes me like, oh, cool. I see it on the sleeve. I'm curious to try it now.
Yeah, and you just wonder like, what is that and why do they sponsor it or what is it? Like when you see Monster Energy, you kind of like the reason why Monster is so big is because they sponsor loads of fucking events. Like it's not necessarily because they're the best energy drink company in the world, but if you look at Monster, they sponsor every single like big event.
But
like
do you
dirt bike
think
event, and
Christian and Damien will be looking for people like Red Bull, Monster?
Eventually, 100%.
They should.
I mean, to be honest, there's already been teams who have looked at just sponsorships with Red Bull in the past. So.
Because Red Bull,
Including
I've seen Red Bull do a lot of parkour stuff.
Art of Motion, number one. The individual athletes.
But getting sponsored by Red Bull is
Hard.
yeah, it's tricky. It's for athletes, I think it's quite
But
tricky.
you think that's the brothers' goal to get?
No, I don't
Someone.
think. I don't think they. I almost think that Red Bull is too like low fish for them. Like they've got ESPN, which is like
Yeah, they've got
huge.
broadcasting
Broadcasting
networks,
companies are
millions,
more
millions.
important to them in a way, and like they only do sponsorship deals for singular events for like food or drinks or something like that. Like they have the Energize stuff now, and like that's like for the events they get sponsored, but they would never do a partnership just with them. I don't think. because it limits them to only being sponsored by them.
And with ESPN, because you're from the TV network scene, is that a crucial part, do you think?
You need the sponsorships to make the show happen. So Energize being on board makes the show happen. But also for it to go further, you need more. You just still need more.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
And what will the sport, what does the sport need to do to gain that more, bigger...
Do exactly what they're doing, but keep doing it.
Yeah.
You remember
Faster,
how new the sport is, right? Like, obviously there's always correlations between us and the UFC, mainly because Damien and Christian love the UFC, and they've got similar vibes in a way. So it's like, the UFC 7 years in was not as big as this. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were still fighting just for
Do you
regulations
think
to
it
even
could
be
be
able to
as
play.
big as the UFC?
100%. Like, we don't have as many barriers that they had. One, because they helped break them down, and two, because like it's not a combat sport. So in America, there was like it was illegal to like hold combat events essentially, and it's just more accessible for people because anyone can play. Whereas like fighting is fairly aggressive.
You need
obviously.
you need that right person who's got the fingers in the right places, like someone who is in charge of UFC championships and leagues and things like that. Someone like that who has just as much passion for chase tag as the brothers do.
Yep.
And to have that money poured into that sport, and then it will grow just as big.
Yeah, I mean we've
it's gonna happen.
already having ESPN is fucking
It's
ginormous.
phenomenal, yeah,
It's
it's
phenomenal
great.
they've got that. And again, like you said, it's like 7 years in.
And
Since
if
they
you-
built
if
it.
you-
Like
if
that's
we-
very fast.
If we take a moment to reflect on the fact that it is only 7 years old, imagine a graph how exponentially the brothers have made the sport grow. I mean, it hasn't slowed down yet. There hasn't been no single year where it's flatlined, ever,
Apart from
at any
COVID,
point.
apart from COVID, I suppose.
COVID, yeah, blip, yeah, on the
And they still managed to put on an event like the next year after,
exactly,
so it's like
straight away there was an event. As
And
soon as we
then
were
let's
out.
go to this. This is an elephant in the room. Teams change.
That's gonna happen.
teams always change. Yeah, I mean our teams. The thing is, our teams change. I mean,
So-
Marrero Gang's changed like so much.
So let's start with Ugen.
Yeah,
so
so
we've
we-
got the big news that Andy's not going to be in the team.
It's alright, yeah. Sketchy Andy will not
No
be
more Sketchy
in the
Andy,
team.
guys.
No more Sketchy Andy.
But you might see his face if he comes
Which
to local.
I think is unfortunate for the sport because a lot of fans love that craziness.
Fans.
I'm not gonna lie. I
think
did
it's
like
like
that
he's
shit.
one of the biggest draws. I think like some of the first clips of World Chase Tag that went viral were Andy killing himself on a course
So-
like that.
So
Props to Andy for helping
Yeah.
us.
He helped the sport grow a lot, I think, and he was an integral part of like Ugen's look, I suppose, because of the way he plays. But yeah, unfortunately, we have parted ways, and he'll
so
probably join
who's the
another
new
team.
athlete replacing Andy?
I don't think anyone could ever replace Andy.
Okay,
like
who's
no one in the world chases like that, man.
who's come on board?
So right now, our actual official roster for the UKs will be me, Haroon, Dane, Emil, Dave, and Sam. So Dave, Emil, and Sam have all competed alongside us in flight clubs, and Dave has competed in the UKs as well. So we did 3 competitions back to back. We did Holland, UK, and France, and they were Emil, Dave, and Sam were our team for those competitions as well. But Sam didn't come to the UK, so he came to tryouts. So we went to tryouts and we held an event so anyone could come try out with the team. And we basically had like a ranking system and everybody played everybody. And the top 5 people went through and became part of the team. And then the bottom tier would play against each other again, and the top tier from that would become the 6th member. And Sam did really, really well. And Sam, so he's technically the replacement, but yeah, it's not really because he doesn't play like Andy at all. We've looked into getting other people on board, but because of we were going to have a Russian athlete with us who plays maybe similar to Andy.
Who's this?
Zelin. Yeah, you've maybe never heard of it. Zelin, shout out to that guy, he's fucking awesome. But unfortunately, because of Russia's situation at the moment, he can't come over with us. If he could have come over, he would have replaced Andy like that. because I'm pretty sure he's got that kind of style. But yeah, he couldn't turn
Proper
up.
Russian tech.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, to answer your question shortly, Sam is technically Andy's replacement. but
and I
not
guess
really.
your team's got a new lineup coming
We
up.
do have a very new lineup, yes. So we have had, unfortunately, a couple of people injured as well. So it's going to be me, Greg, competing. We're going to have a new...
He won't damage his ankle like last.
No, he's actually good now. His ankle's feeling very, very good.
It won't make it. That was just such a random
I'm
like
gonna
accident.
completely roll over that comment anyway. Because everybody already knows about all the mistakes made by Marrero Gang in that very first match. So we're not gonna jump on that.
So
Discuss it in the comments, guys.
so
Whatever you
carry
like.
on. So you
Kieran's very, very good friend from Canterbury, from Herne Bay, Marcus, a 18-year-old kid, 19, soon to be 19.
Soon to be 19.
Soon
He's
to be
very
19.
cool. He's good.
He hasn't competed on a quad before until we went our recent trip to France to their quad, and yeah, he showed prove his colours over the couple of days. It was amazing. It was amazing to see him step up. He's got a background in Olympic gymnastics, so competing at pretty much at Olympic level. He pulled out just before that. Phenomenal athlete for such a young boy. And then we have the new two new team members from Team United that we pinched. There was a little bit of trouble in the United teams. I'm not going to mention, but essentially they left the team. They left.
comment below.
Comment below if you know. But they left United and they were looking for a team. They're asking around, and actually Richard here let our teammate Greg, our manager Greg, let him know that these two were looking for a team.
So you've got two members of United joining.
Correct.
the team.
Yeah.
Charles
That
and
is
Claremont.
Charles Pouget and Clement.
So in the next championship, will you have Andy on team?
Whoa! Flat out.
Sure thing.
I
Put it in the
recognize-
Michael Jackson thing.
Guys, what does this noise mean?
And Justin, do you know any other moves
trying to
in
join
the
your team,
team?
bro.
Are there any other changes?
Any other changes to other teams?
Yeah, I want him.
I'm totally in. I don't know. I'm totally in the dark right now. Like, this is all news to me, to be honest.
So are there any other changes to any of the other major teams?
Also, was that 5 people you said? Who's the
I did.
sixth?
So we will potentially have Kyle back. Kyle Glick.
Kyle Glick. Come on.
Glickerigu.
So any other teams got any major changes?
Actually, I lied. I am curious to see
Is this
Hollywood Free Runners.
exclusive?
No, not really. I mean, Hollywood Free Runners, not replacements, but subs that they have for players who can't make the trip.
As well, Blacklist will have, I think, 2 new player on board because Abdullah, the guy who's meant to be coming in today, he hasn't actually competed in an official world event yet, or the Euros. He's just competed in flight clubs. And I believe he's replacing Sebastian, as far as I know, because Sebastian
Foucan.
He played at the last World Championships, but the selfless man that he is, he just wants to play for fun and kind of manage the team. Like he kind of, he's done his own thing. He's played, and now he just wants to play for fun and not have the
But
pressure on him.
he does absolutely love the sport, which is great.
So he stayed
Great
with
to have
that.
someone like that.
Yeah, so he stayed with that team just to coach Blacklist. And again, as we spoke about earlier, like it's a very good thing to have somebody outside just kind of coaching you. And yeah, so he's been putting in loads of work with Blacklist, and I think Abdullah's going to be like the fresh face on Blacklist. Even though he's been at every event, he's not played quite well.
So you three are athletes. Athletes are known to look after their health.
Stretches.
Do you avoid
Yeah,
that?
knee stretches.
Do you avoid anything in particular like alcohol?
Yeah, so I don't really.
Thanks for feeding us booze, by the way.
So yeah, leading up to a I normally don't drink very much. You can
I'll
see-
You're
just
not
take
competing,
this.
are you?
I'm
So-
not competing at all. I get to enjoy them wreck themselves, and I'll be like up in the stands.
To be honest with you,
This is quite healthy alcohol.
it's quite a healthy
it's
alcohol,
very low,
yes.
yeah.
And I'm going to a boat party tonight, so I'm not going to keep off the booze.
Do you avoid any foods in particular? Or?
No, complete omnivore. But I have been eating very healthy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I pretty much live clean 6 days of the week. So I try not to eat any junk food or processed food 6 days of the week, and then I have a nice cheat day
And Justin, do
on one of the
Cheat
days.
day is every day. You eat a lot and work out a lot.
you? Any other
Yeah, I mean, obviously the parkour community, everyone smokes a lot of weed. I do not, even though a lot.
We
of people,
do not.
not these guys. But
No one at this table.
No one at this table does. But
As far as we know.
No.
yeah, I don't do that. I don't smoke. I don't drink.
So is it healthy
Fairly
living?
healthy. Yeah. I think it just helps. Like, if I eat badly, I just feel bad. If I drink loads, I just feel bad. Like, if I'm training loads and I'm active and I'm drinking loads of water, sleeping, stretching, like living a healthy lifestyle, I just feel so much better. And I think if you're gonna compete at a top level, you should try your best.
Do any of you have any like superstitions? Like you have to do something before the event?
Oh,
Interesting question.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not really.
I guess when it comes to warming up, because I saw a lot of people taking it very seriously, like being like, high knees, all right, do some jumping jacks, jump rope. I'm like, anybody want to play hacky sack?
Hey.
And like get a big circle going.
Oh my god. Hacky sack. I remember like with Kieran and Kyle back at the qualifiers,
Yeah.
we were like waiting to go on and we were just all playing hacky sack.
Yeah.
It is the most
Like the
fun
first
way
time we
to just
met
kind
them.
of relax yourself, your nerves, you know, and actually warm up as
Let
well.
me know what hacky sack is. What is it?
Oh, you know,
Oh,
it's just
whoa.
it's like a little beanbag.
Yeah, a
thing.
little
You
tiny
like-
beanbag
it's like a
full of
tiny beanbag,
those
you kick.
little rice, essentially, right? Beads.
Is it rice that is filled with?
Essentially,
I
it
thought
can
it
be,
was-
it can have anything.
Yeah.
Seeds.
And you kick it, and you play
kick
like
it about-
imagine like keepy
like
uppies
keepy
up.
with your
Something like a
football.
little soft football.
Yeah, oh, that's a good way to describe
fabric
it.
football.
Yeah.
And
It's very
right,
fun.
prediction time. I'll start with you. Where do you
Prediction
think
time.
Prediction
your team
times.
will end
Wow,
up?
how do you think
I-
the other groups will fare?
No, I think I'm going to. About my team, I think, honestly, we have a very good chance of getting at least to the quarterfinals.
Is it going to be world champions 3 times?
Fourth time? There's a potential chance. There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
There's so
And
much
who do
luck
you
involved,
think?
bro.
If
There is
it's-
so much luck involved in the whole
If it's
so
not
much
you, who do you
not
think
us.
will be?
If it's definitely not us, it's probably going to be Team Fat. I think they're the UK favourites. I think they're the world favourites as well. Just because, to be honest, I'm going to go back to what Rich said earlier. Is like two people can carry a team.
And Richard,
If you play correctly.
I think
where do you think Ugen be?
we get at least to the semis, and if we get to the semis and Fat are on the opposite side of the bracket, I think we end up seeing them again in the room. Like,
And are
me
you
and
going
Harvey-
to win this time?
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I genuinely like when you look at the board, like how everything could fall together. If it falls the way we think it will, yeah, it could end up being like a Fat Ugen final again, potentially.
And if it's not Ugen, who do you think?
I agree. I think Fat do just take it. Yeah,
And
Actually,
just-
it could be a Fat. The thing is, like Apex and Fat, that will decide a lot in the first. Like the first group, the second match in the first group is literally Fat versus Apex,
Yeah.
and that decides.
I think that's been the most
lot.
exciting match of the whole tournament, probably.
Yeah, and it's like one of the most anticipated, I think. And as soon as that happens, everybody will have a feel of where the rest of the tournament will go. I think. Yeah, that's
gonna be,
my opinion on it.
And
It's going to be
Justin,
high temperature in the room.
Yeah,
you're not competing,
Yeah.
so who do you think will win?
non-biased opinion.
Non-biased opinion, and not because I'm staying at his house.
What's he going to do?
Can't go to bed tonight.
No, but
Go on.
realistically, Team Fat. But who I honestly do want to see them win. I want to see Apex take it.
So that's your prediction. Where will Ugen finish?
Last, we lose in the first round.
Alas.
Yeah, I think.
So where will Ugen finish?
They're definitely making it to the Final Four.
And Marrero
Gang
Gang?
shit.
And Marrero. You better say
I'm
Final Four.
trying to remember.
Imagine we go third
I'm
place.
trying to
bro.
remember the groupings though.
Jokes. I think
So
I
it
want
could be
I want
second,
that.
third, or not.
Let me check this out too, so I could give a real unbiased opinion.
I think the groupings fall like this as well. I think Fat, it goes Fat, Apex, Fat, and Morgana skipping for Group A. I genuinely, what I used to think Parkour 59 would take Group B, where Marrero is, but they don't have one of their very strong players now. So I don't actually know. That one is like Group B is like the one I have no idea how it will fall. Like, I have no predictions. It could literally, any one of those teams could come top or bottom. It's going to be actually savage. I think each team lose one game, if that makes sense. Like each team lose one game and win, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Your group is Group C or D?
B.
Who's Group A, B,
B. It's B. Okay.
A, B, C, D.
Okay.
It's very weird. See, look, Apex Doge, Marrero Gang, King of Parkour 59. That's such a.
Go on,
a
Justin,
coin toss.
call it.
Oh man.
Where will
Don't hate
Marrero
me.
Gang?
Fifth.
Fifth overall in the world. So
Overall.
there you go.
Easy. Still get money.
Still get
There
money.
you go. And thank you guys.
Oh yeah.
It's been great.
Also,
Thank you.
United gets stomped by Blacklist in the first group. Just-
Cool, you're really.
I'm predicting it. United getting stomped by
So
Blacklist.
you're dissing Kyle Sozeman and now United.
Nah, isn't
Cool.
it? Come on, it's not United. It's
not
Loic,
United,
It's
it's-
Loic and Ben Alawafi and then 4 children.
Oh, Richard.
Yeah, it's United kind of. It's the remnants of United, to be honest.
The thing is, Loic will
Is this your taunting before the call?
Loic by himself, I think, could beat Pasta Moves and Jet. I think by himself he could beat them, but Loic by himself cannot beat the Blacklist team right now. They are monsters.
Yeah.
they are actually monsters right now, and the amount they've been training and just how good they all are.
To be honest,
they are one of my
they've come up.
favorites to
They-
come. Like they're gonna come top 3. I think.
They could beat that. Who knows?
I actually think Blacklist is a harder matchup against Fat than Apex.
Yeah.
I think Blacklist give them more of a run for
So
that.
let's do a top 3 matches we would love to see.
Go on then.
Marrero Ugen.
Yeah. Obviously
100%.
number 1.
That's the number 1
Marrero
matchup
Ugen
I want to
again.
see. Because I need some redemption. I need some redemption.
Justin, your what team?
So
match?
matches that will
Like,
potentially
what
happen.
match do you want to see the most? Like, if you could pick any
Overall.
2 teams out of all of
Overall.
the teams, who would you
Overall.
like to see?
Who do you want to see?
I'm gonna be a basic bitch and be like, I want to see Hollywood and Gina.
Hollywood team. What about you?
So top 3.
Oh, top 3, yeah.
Yeah,
go on.
top 3 is gonna be Ugen Marrero. Is gonna be Blacklist Apex E.
Oh shit, that would be a good match, yeah.
And to be honest, GNF. I want to see us go against GNF.
Marrero GNS.
I want
You want
a
that
rematch.
redemption,
I
yeah.
want redemption because to be
Redemption
honest,
is key.
We lost that match. I don't know if anybody remembers the match between GNF
I watched
and
that the other
Marrero
day.
Gang.
I literally watched that the other day.
I will take the blame for losing that match because we were on sudden death and I sprained my ankle. So if that ankle
Whoa.
was not sprained, we would
There's
have won.
literally a moment where you two are like this close,
Yeah.
and if you could take us, he literally steps on his ankle, and you can see it like fully deactivate and just like fold. Ah man, that was painful to watch. But also Kyle let you down there too, because there was 2 attempts where Kyle, like, it was not just your fault.
No.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
But yeah,
there you go.
Cheers,
It's been a
guys.
pleasure.
cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Thanks for
Drink
inviting us.
Breadrin.
And yes, drink Breadrin. Exactly.
There we go. And we're wrapped
Always.
That was not just your fault. It wasn't just your fault.